Chris, are you surprised that Zaslow is already wandering over toward hockey, away from where it is that the Heat used to play meaningful basketball games, and has dismissed the NBA playoffs so far as a dud, even though we've had like 4 minutes of NBA playoffs?
Surprised he's watching playoff hockey, if I'm being real.
Yeah, you seem pretty strong in your opinion that he hadn't paid attention to hockey until the Panthers were good.
It's the most unfair narrative.
I wasn't saying that. I was just saying that normally this time of year he wouldn't be checking out the entirety of the hockey landscape.
So it's exactly what you said. Yeah, no, he had to actually watch the playoffs before the Panthers got good.
I understand that, but when the Panthers the last 2 years were at the top of everything, he's watching the games with an intensity like we are aware, correct, that at his age, when he's complaining about having to stand for 5 hours at a UFC event and needs to be in bed at 9:30, that person can't watch both playoffs with the same intensity. You have to choose which one you prefer. It's not possible to watch all of it. It's not humanly possible to have kids a life and watch all of it.
I mean, I spent a lot of time on the couch in the Zaslow Mansion family room this weekend, Dan, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, YouTube multi-view. That's been a lifesaver.
Got the multiple TVs, and then WrestleMania gets going in the evening. It becomes tough to watch 3 things at once. But I took a gander at the hockey, much to your bemusement, apparently. Dan.
You like it?
Yeah, it's a sport I might be able to get into.
You've dismissed basketball after 2 days.
Well, hold on a second.
Guy doesn't love ball. It's very easy to see. He likes puck now. He doesn't like ball. It's okay.
Hold on a second. When the NBA opening weekend gives you 8 games, 4 on one day, 4 the next day, and one of them was compelling, Dan, it's fair for me to say it's been a dud. Come on.
It's fair for me to say that we just got started. We don't do these measurements 2 days, 3 days at a time.
Is 1 of 8 a good percentage?
You had a big upset. It happens, fairly frequently.
That was the one.
But, I can make the argument that immediately after Tony said that the Orlando Magic were a joke, that they did the 2 most impressive things I've seen done in the entirety of the playoffs. Both of them, because the way they took out Charlotte, it's been a long time since I saw an NBA team play defense like that, where Charlotte, you talk about a team that wasn't ready for any of that and just decided, playoff basketball, I'm going to keep shooting threes from over here. It was awful. What the team that finished the Heat season had all sorts of trouble getting the ball to the free throw line. They were having trouble getting the ball over half court. It's been a long time since I've seen a team shut out like that on a good offensive team shut out totally by a defense.
This is who we thought the Orlando Magic were going to be when they got Desmond Bane in the beginning of the season. We're like, wow, Orlando could be a sneaky, interesting team in the East. And all of a sudden, I say that they're a joke clown franchise, and then they go on a great run of winning 2 massive games and then beating the Pistons. Like, what's going on here?
You more wrong about that or Concanipple?
No, I'm right about Concanipple. It's okay.
What are you right about Concanipple?
That he's had a legendary rookie year? That's 100% fact.
First name is the right first name for him.
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a 3 or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man-to-man or box and 1? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls, and we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots, a dagger 3 and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say Zagak. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack.
Let's start the day, the show, and the week with some laughter and some lightness. Give me the funniest thing from the sports weekend imaging, please.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
Lot to choose from, so let's start with Zaslow. Zaslow, what is your funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Okay, so if you go back to Friday, the Charlotte Hornets and the Orlando Magic, they played a play-in game. The winner gets to face the Pistons. No spoilers, I won't tell you who won. But on Friday night, when LaMelo Ball was at the free throw line, there was a Magic fan who was sitting in the front row behind the basket, and he was miming that he was driving a car, and he was like spinning out of control, like he was crashing a car.
The way LaMelo drives.
Yeah.
Oh, crashing.
Yeah. That was funny.
The quote from LaMelo Ball, you guys saw this on television, right? After he defeated the Heat and he was just sort of asked, what were you thinking at the end? He just said on television, I bleeped the game up, and so I had to go win it. That was his analysis. None of that belonged in the playoffs. Nothing that was happening with Charlotte. We were fooled by them for 2 months, and for me, it's just great to watch. Oh, Orlando has little playoff experience. Charlotte has none. That's what happens at the very bottom of the conference with a team that I was actually believing in when it's led by careening LaMelo Ball. That you cannot trust any of that.
All the talk, really, for the last 2.5 months of the season about the Hornets, they didn't make the playoffs.
Chris Cody. So do the Hornets now have playoff experience?
No.
They have fake playoff experience.
Okay, so they don't have playoff
No.
experience.
So next year's fake playoff, though,
No,
they'll have that
but
experience.
okay, but they don't have playoff experience. None. Because those 2 games don't
They're
count.
fake. Yeah.
Chris, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Tony and I are actually sharing this one because it's so good. As much as I don't want to give Buffalo fans credit, Sabres fans just really brought it this weekend. Before the game, they were just attacking a Boston Bruins dummy, just losing their minds. I had never heard a stadium as loud as that stadium when they got that game-winning goal. Look at this guy just falling over like
That's
an idiot.
the best part is that somebody throws like a hat or a shoe in the middle of the way. He's skating backwards,
All right,
doesn't
so
see it.
hold on.
Look at this guy just tackling.
For the audio audience, okay, there's a dummy, and a guy on skates lost the fight to him by falling backward, tripping
These
over
guys
a
have
hat.
jobs, I think, and families, and yet this is what they do on their weekend.
Buffalo sports fans deserve better than what they've gotten from their teams over the years, especially this one. Like this one hasn't. When's the last time this one won a playoff game?
14 years.
14, yeah. 15.
I'm not gonna lie, watching all of it, that pregame stuff, the pop when they got their big goals, it did make me think maybe we don't like hockey that much down here.
They were booing them by the second period because they were down 2-0. And then 4 goals in the third period, 3 and 4.5 minutes in the last half. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys because I don't know how our listeners are listening to this. Do they always hear? Is the noise in the construction that I am hearing throughout the show for the last 2 weeks, is it something that our audience is always hearing, sometimes hearing, often hearing? What's the answer to my question?
Well, let's sample the YouTube comments. You can follow the show live on youtube.com/@LeBatard Show, but I do think it does come out sometimes more than others.
Jeremy, the next time it makes an appearance here on the show, I want you to go find that sound for me, and I want to televise you broadcasting from the jackhammering or whatever it is that's happening there. What is the funniest thing, Jeremy, that you saw this weekend?
The Mets.
Yeah.
They've lost 11 in a row, Dan. 11 straight games. They've been outscored 62-19 over that stretch. There's only one team ever that has lost 11 in a row in April and made the playoffs. It was the 1951 Giants.
The YouTube chat is saying they don't hear it so far, but we'll check
Okay.
back.
Mike, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
You know me, I love a good chug video, and George Kittle for several years now has been attending WrestleManias, and anytime he's shown on screen, he chugs. In fact, he was taking over other people's chugs. Wow. Halliburton, who's on plenty of medication, was shown on screen, threatened to chug. George Kittle helpfully came into the frame and said, don't worry about it. I know you're on medication. I got this one. And then on Sunday, he had a chug face-off with Gronk. George Kittle, fun guy.
Now, it is a large cup, but he is doing like a third of it.
It's a huge
It's
cup.
a gigantic
Yeah.
cup. Like I prefaced that because it's a tough cup.
Can you do that or no?
No, not a full. If I could do what he did, a third of it. but
When's
yeah.
the last time you funneled a beer?
Funneled? I've done shotguns of like cans, but with the funnel, no, it's been a long time.
To Jeremy's point, the last time the New York Yankees lost 11 straight games was 1913. Like, that doesn't happen very often. I wanted to talk about the sale price of the San Diego Padres, $3.9 billion, because the Mets sold 5 years ago for $2.4 billion, and I just can't believe the rate of inflation on sports teams when the San Diego Padres are worth twice as much as the New York Mets 5 years later. Like, that's totally nuts to me. My funniest thing from the sports weekend, John Kruk in a suit. It just doesn't fit. It's not something that people should be. It's just he's uncomfortable.
If you didn't tell me I was John Kruk, I don't think I would have recognized.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like I've seen him a lot recently. I know who John, but I don't know. That looks very unusual.
I remember him with like a buzz cut like a state trooper would have. And now he's got like this long kind of Barry Melrose hair going down.
But the suit it throws you off.
He should have played first base with a cigarette in his mouth. That's what did Drew Holiday have in his mouth yesterday? Did we ever figure out what it is that he had? Some sort of people were wondering whether it was a toothpick.
That's what the internet was thinking, but
it couldn't have been a toothpick. But Drew Holiday was playing an NBA basketball game. It looked like with something in his mouth, and I didn't know whether he got stitches that were weirdly it looked like fishing line. It didn't even make sense to me. Roy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Inside the NBA was talking about Ice Spice getting slapped in a McDonald's, and now McDonald's apparently is a sponsor of Inside the NBA. And Charles Barkley said, I don't think that this is what McDonald's was expecting when they sponsored Inside the NBA.
we can't play the sound, but it was just 2 minutes of gold. Them starting a segment. This segment brought to you by McDonald's, and then they just go on to talk about things McDonald's wouldn't want to happen in their stores. They talked about the health calories of McDonald's. It was just 2 minutes of what they definitely did not pay for.
So what McDonald's did not want from its sponsorship was just Shaq and Barkley let loose talking about McDonald's in ways that don't quite have the sponsor's bullet points in them.
Right, and Kenny Smith was calling Chuck Georgia Tech. He did it a few times, and he's like, you know why I call him that? Because he's a rambling wreck.
Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan have fixed their friendship, or on their way. They're on their way, according to Charles, to fixing their friendship. They haven't talked in a long time because Michael Jordan, who continues to be a NASCAR champion again and again, he's dominating. Michael Jordan is dominating ownership in racing instead of basketball. He and Charles haven't talked for a long time because Charles said on television Michael Jordan was doing a bad job running the Charlotte Hornets. Bobcats back then. And so they haven't spoken in a long time. And Charles was hurt by that and bothered by that, but said consistently, I have to do my job, and my job is to tell the truth and say what I think. And Michael Jordan hasn't been good at that job, and Michael evidently was thin-skinned about it.
You got to figure that all the winning recently with the NASCAR has helped unfreeze that relationship, right? We're like, because he was telling Michael, you're bad at this job, you only have yes men around you, and now like Jordan's like a winner again, I got to figure that has helped Jordan soften up a little bit.
I saw the interview that Jordan did with Gayle King, which was only 1,000 times better than the one that he did with Tirico that they've been playing all season on Peacock. And it was interesting to hear him say, over here in NASCAR, I can just have the joys of a thing that doesn't have the burdens and pressures that I had as a godlike figure and a mythological figure in basketball. It seemed like the burden of being him in basketball was such that the interview he gave Gayle King talking about horse racing is more enthusiastic and inspired than I've ever heard him talk about basketball. He seems bored when talking about basketball because everybody wants to talk to him about basketball, and he was radiant during this interview.
If you saw Michael Jordan at a basketball game, you wouldn't even try to go up to him. You wouldn't even try to get near his atmosphere. He could be sitting courtside, and you'd be like, he's just not at all accessible. And NASCAR does such a great job, like the fan treatment and access. You could be walking through the garage. It's not that hard to get garage access. And Michael Jordan's as close to me as Tony is right now. He's accessible. He takes photos. I mean, he's still Michael Jordan. You have to kind of respect his space. It's not like, going up to any other owner, really, but it's crazy to see how welcoming he is, how different his personality is around that sport. And he gave voice to it in that interview with Gayle King. Him going to a basketball arena is a larger-than-life experience for him because of what he represents to that sport. He is essentially a god in that sport, where in NASCAR, he's Michael Jordan, and it's a side project, but he is not this huge cult of personality associated with the sport. Michael Jordan, you could argue, was bigger than the NBA.
He and Barkley have a lot to catch up on. What do you think is like the first thing they talk about? Lots happened.
Wow, Chuck, you're thinner.
I'm guessing that would be high on the list, yes. Although if insults are indeed the language of intimacy among males, it won't come up because he's not going to let Charles know that he looks good. But before we get to this sound real quick, I want you guys to hear this sound and watch it, because the part that caught me off guard about this interview is the amount of enthusiasm he had for doing the interview. Like, that's not, I've only seen bored Michael Jordan being Michael Jordan in interviews almost the entirety of his adult life. Like, soon after he became famous and the sneaker campaign went to the myth making, the next thing you knew, all of a sudden, Michael Jordan became a very careful personality. You guys have seen that Nike has dipped, at least in part. Windhorse is saying it's because NBA players are just less popular than they used to be.
I've got a lot of takes on that. I think Nike went after the wrong guys and didn't pay the right guys to get them in, because if Ant Edwards was a Nike athlete, can you imagine the shoes that they would be making and they would be selling? So there's a lot there.
And globally, Nike's reputation around soccer has really taken a huge dip. They've been lapped by Adidas.
As it relates to Windhorse's theory, though, that people don't like NBA stars the way they used to, the Nike machine got rolling behind this star who, as we can say flatly, right, was always a boring interview.
Yeah.
Was never interesting as an interview, but here he's just enjoying talking. Listen to this.
When I said I wanted to retire and get to a quieter life, I wanted to get away from basketball in terms of what I represented in that arena, and what, how big I've gotten. Mm-hmm. And it was such a huge burden for me in that sport. Here, the burden's not quite the same, and I'm not in that same realm, even though it has evolved to be that now because of the lawsuit.
When you say burden, what do you mean burden?
The burden of living a certain way, living up to trying to maintain whatever everybody's perspective is for you, or was for you. That is a burden, and it's a lot of people that has to endure that. And it's a certain period of time that you can go through it, and then at some point in time you say, I'm tired of doing that.
Is there a teeny tiny part of you that misses basketball, that that wishes you could pick up a ball?
100%. It's not just a teeny; it's a huge piece. But I've compensated that feeling through NASCAR or through fishing. That I like going fishing. But that urge to dream, that if I wish I can still pick up a basketball and
you would.
I would love to do that.
You
Believe
would?
me, my competitive juices is set. Yeah, I would definitely love it.
You surprised to hear him call being Michael Jordan a huge burden? Like, wouldn't all of you out there just assume it must be marvelous to be Michael Jordan? I remember Charles Barkley did tell us one time, you don't understand the differences in my fame and his fame. I can walk into 7-Eleven. He can't. Like, he's just Matt Damon used to talk about this when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were a couple. Like, Matt Damon and George Clooney would laugh because the paparazzi, laugh and point, because the paparazzi would go running over to where Brad Pitt was, and his life, because he was in a celebrity couple, was worse. Are you surprised to hear him say a huge burden to be Michael Jordan in basketball?
I'll tell you, my biggest takeaway from that is I find myself mesmerized watching him speak to Gayle King there, because we rarely get to hear him speak in some type of genuine fashion. that I still feel like this aura when he talks. Like, oh, wow, like, I want to listen to it's why even the stuff with Tirico, like, it was so vapid, but still, it's Michael Jordan sitting there talking.
Well, the way all of this gets crafted for public consumption is interesting in a number of different ways, because many of our greatest athletes give you very little. Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, in interviews, they just close down entirely, because giving the interviewer vulnerability does nothing but create distractions. You just want everybody to go away. Tiger Woods presently finds himself in a predicament, a real predicament, because his lawyers are trying to make sure that nobody sees what his pill consumption was beginning in January. Because of this misdemeanor DUI accident, his lawyers are trying to protect. They don't want Public Records Acts. They don't want anybody to be able to look at what the prescription medication, the dosages, the number of pills, the frequency since January. They don't want anybody to see it. And I'm left to assume, even as much as I'd like to fight for privacy for everybody deserves privacy, I'm left to assume, as I imagine you are, that he's got something to hide there, that he's not freedom fighting on behalf of privacy. His attorneys aren't freedom fighting on behalf of privacy, though they'd be right to do so. I don't think his medical secrets from January are relevant to what it is that happened in a recent accident, but it seems like there's something embarrassing there. I don't know how you arrive at any other conclusion other than that.
I think it could be relevant to what happened. We don't know the count of his medication. He could get a prescription for something in January and still be using it when the incident happened.
And he turned down a blood test on the scene.
Yeah, and it wasn't alcohol in his system, so I think that this is an attorney team trying to get some discovery and help build their case. You could argue that it's outsized because of the celebrity attached.
No, I would argue that it's a misdemeanor DUI. This is not something that's aggressively fought by lawyers. Misdemeanor DUIs generally go through our court system pretty simply.
He's super famous, but it's also not his first incident, which also matters here. And while it might be outsized, so is flipping your car in a residential neighborhood.
It's misdemeanor DUI. Like that, legally, it's a misdemeanor. So you can say, yes, flipping your car in a residential neighborhood is what brings this attention. And now the government is snooping around in his medical records. I don't know that any of us would necessarily want the government invading our privacy that way, would we?
No, but I mean, there are consequences. And also, I don't think we're ever going to see those because he's got really good attorneys and this is all going to go away for him.
The part that was interesting to me beyond whether or not his great attorneys will be able to ransack Orlando's prosecutor or not is the fact that they made sure to try and shut down all public records requests, that even if they lose something here, they don't want us to see any of it. Are you guys then believing, though, because of how some of this stuff happens, right? Melania comes out with that weird press conference, and you know there's something back there that she knows that she's trying to get out in front of. Are any of you looking at Tiger Woods' rehab stint here with skepticism, where it's like, oh, that's step one in the public relations campaign? It's not necessarily that he's bought full in, or are you thinking that it's a sincere effort after yet another embarrassment to actually try and retrieve help?
No, I think it's PR.
I'm not comfortable speculating.
I mean, it's an easy conclusion to draw. Like, I mean,
if you're a cynic.
Yeah.
If you want to be cynical about it, yeah, I guess. I mean, it certainly helps. He needed to do something. Initially, he was getting very bad advice. TMZ was reporting he's not going to get a driver. He's not going to seek treatment. It wasn't great. I mean, he's on the optics of him like talking to the president seemed like a man that wasn't ready to face these consequences. Finally got good advice. The news stream was bad to him. So, yeah, but also one of the things that could have gotten to him was his family. And look, the public, since nobody got hurt in any of these accidents other than him, thankfully, the public was still supporting him. There weren't victims with these alleged crimes and crimes before. So he had a lot of public support and a lot of people rooting for him and a lot of people genuinely hoping that he would get help. So I hope sincerely that he is doing that. And yes, there is a PR spin to it. I mean, it's not great if Tiger Woods just continues to double down and continues to be a terror in Jupiter with his vehicle.
When you talk about facing the consequences of your actions, like, does that have to also live in allowing people to see your personal life? Because, like, I think you can keep those two things separate of facing the consequences of your actions, but also being like, hey, I'm going to keep this stuff private.
Whether he committed a crime or not, I think people are totally entitled to their privacy, especially when there isn't a victim. If there were somebody else getting hurt here, your rights to your own personal privacy, that stuff gets diluted, and rightfully so, I think. You do lose some of that stuff.
Yeah, but I'm actually not talking about the larger privacy issue, because I'm assuming that all of us here, okay, if we were not guilty of something, we would not have any problem allowing our privacy. We wouldn't be fighting on behalf of our privacy if we didn't have anything to hide. If there wasn't anything that we were embarrassed by there. Like if Tiger Woods was totally clean here, he wouldn't even want this part reported, that he's trying to keep this stuff from becoming public. If he were totally clean, if there wasn't something there that's embarrassing to him, I don't think he becomes somebody who's fighting on behalf of his privacy.
I mean, we all saw the video. Clearly there's something there, and it's not an uncommon request at all for people to get your prescriptions, for prosecutors to at least ask for your prescriptions. It's uncommon that we're talking about it on a national show.
That's exactly what it is. It's like you're not normally dealing with someone so famous. I'm going to try to see if there are other examples in celebrity
for
where
misdemeanor.
this exists.
If you're going to have a hard time finding some of this for a misdemeanor.
I mean, look, every site I've gone to for law practices, they've all said that oftentimes in a misdemeanor DUI, in any DUI, they will request your prescriptions. Now, we don't normally know about those things. I don't believe any of us have gone through that process, and if we had, maybe we would know that is a common request from the opposing attorneys, but it's just dealing with a famous person, which is the reason why it's all publicized. It's why he would want to not give those things up, because we'll find out.
Is Tiger also trying to protect his doctors that are maybe doing stuff that,
well, that's
again,
a
speculation of maybe the doctors are prescribing a little bit more because it's Tiger Woods?
Yeah, but yes.
That might be reckless speculation. I don't know if you want to play that.
It is absolutely reckless speculation.
Yeah, we saw what happened with Michael Jackson when he OD'd. Like, they came for the people that prescribed these things.
Yeah. Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
I mean, if I'm going to recklessly speculate, he's going to protect the guys that make sure that he gets what he needs on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. You don't want all the name. Dr. Sanchez is out there, and he's like, whoa, dude, that was in confidence. I gave you those, to take care of yourself. Why are you out of me now all of a sudden? But again, that's reckless and completely speculative. But just had to be said.
All right. So I want to get to some sound here. The only sound Nikola Jovic has made over the last several months as a member of the Miami Heat who is collecting an exorbitant salary for not playing. Let's hear this sound here. And is this or is this not fair criticism?
At one point, you feel like you're good enough for the team you help, and then all of a sudden you're at the end of the bench, and you feel like you're never going to see the floor again. And it's so ups and downs. Like it's just the way the Heat is, I guess. It's just you got to be good on every night for them to, continue playing you. And minutes I have, I got to be perfect to get that 60 minutes. And if I don't, I'm just going to be at the end of the bench, I guess.
I mean, it's a really bad look for him. The contract that he signed doesn't even go into effect yet. So he had a completely nothing year. And we're making it as if, like the team believed in you enough to give you the contract when you had showed pretty little anyway. And now, like, you're blindsided by what the expectation is of you with this team that you've been on 4 years. I don't know, man.
Okay, so what Zaz is saying is his extension doesn't kick in until next year. He is going to be the guy with the longest contract security that anyone on the Heat have. Pelle Larsson ends up taking his minutes, right? Like, that can't happen. Like that can't happen. Like he was supposed to at least be giving you what Pelle Larsson gave you. If he were giving you that, people wouldn't be looking at that and saying it's such a bad contract. But he started the first game of the year and then it just doesn't play the rest of the time. that's wasted money on somebody who's supposed to be a part of your future, and it's now someone who creates blockages for you because that's not. Is that even a trade? I guess all the contracts in the NBA are tradable, but what value are you trading right now?
When he signed it, it was met with skepticism. This wasn't like there were some people celebrating that if this guy continues this trajectory, that is a tradable contract, even if he doesn't live up for it. But he's not playing at all, so. I guess via that prism, it's not a great contract whatsoever. But I guess you have to consider it can be two things in this instance. It can be a disastrous contract, but you also have to trust the Miami Heat, because one thing that I won't take the Miami Heat to task to is their reputation when it comes to developing players. And oftentimes, this is a stage in the development of these prospects where they don't see the floor for many games, and it ends up working out. So when it comes to developing and bringing a young player along, I trust the Miami Heat.
But Mike, the when you talk about developing young players, not after you've given them the deal. That ain't what they do. Not after you've given them the deal.
That's a fair point.
When you've given them the deal, it's because you believe you've already developed them. They didn't give it to Caleb Martin. They didn't give it to Gabe Vincent. They didn't give it to Max Strus. They gave it to this guy because any one of those guys would have wanted that deal.
So how do you not put the blame on Nikola Jovic then? Like they've been developing. They've spent their time on him. And now on top of spending their time on him, they've spent their money on him. Like they have every reason to play him. And instead, they went with the second-year player who, again, if Nikola Jovic is talking about I got to be perfect every night, what do you think? They just they think Pelle Larsson's better looking than you? Like, no, Pelle Larsson is clearly doing the things that they would like you to do. And that's why he's playing and you're not.
I had a conversation with somebody the other day who's like trying to grow in their job, and they were complaining about their boss, and they were saying he's always getting on me because I'm a little late. They're getting on you because they want you to be perfect all the time. Like, yeah, they'd like you to be good, but I understand that he's playing with some fear. Like it's very hard to play basketball looking over your shoulder thinking your coach doesn't have confidence in you and is going to yank you. Like that'll affect your jump shot. Like if you feel like you're going to get yanked, this is a complaint I hear all the time from NBA players. Like this is not something that is developmental. Like you will fold under the pressure of the thing that got Max Strus playing time in Miami over Duncan Robinson, and the thing that made Duncan Robinson improve as a player is that Duncan Robinson was taking 4 shots and then afraid looking over his shoulder, and Strus is like, I'll take 10 of them. And like, that's the fire. That's what they do to make these guys better is, yes, your playing time's on the line. There are other people here who want your time and your money. You got the money though. You ended up getting. The thing about that contract that is so strange is they weren't giving that money to anybody. Like they let all their guys go because they're like, they had to have thought this was going to be a special player. Like they had to have thought that.
It's multiple things here. He's a first-round pick who, in terms of talent, had a higher upside. He actually started game 1 of this season, if you look all the way back, and then never started again. But he actually compared his own situation to Duncan Robinson. He said, I should probably talk to him because he's a guy who excelled, got paid, and then after getting paid, ended up with 0 minutes in the rotation, only to then earn his way back and play well enough to get another big contract with Detroit. So that's a guy who he would look to, and the reason they paid him and not a Vincent or a Strus or Caleb Martin, who they tried to pay, was because of the age. Like those guys were in their mid to even later 20s. Jovic was 22 when he signed this contract because he was drafted so young.
And Jeremy, we talked about it. They completely renovate their offense. They change everything, thinking that Jovic is going to be a big part of what they do.
Him and Jaquez would be the guys that would benefit
the most. And Jaquez has done it,
yep.
And Jovic didn't, right? Like, it's a very simple thing. We did this for you. We gave the money to you, and you do not deliver. It's a very easy understanding of why you're the 15th guy at the edge of the bench.
I believe that we have failed as a show in not having, in the funniest thing from the sports weekend, anything from this deer calling championship. We failed as a show, not playing any of this sound before now, not showing you any of the video of these incredible weirdos who like to call deer. Chris Cody got hypnotized by this
I love this.
This weekend.
You love this,
What do you love about the deer calling? What is it that you enjoyed?
I love that there are no deer at the deer calling competition, and that it's judged by just judges who sit there with their eyes closed and really listen. We can play it underneath here as I talk about it, but it's in Germany, and it's the world's best deer callers.
That's crazy.
And they're assessed. Now, Fabian Wenzel has won this thing 5 years in a row.
I have to explain to the audio audience that this is, wow.
This is vulgar.
Yeah, this is pornographic. It's phallic. These instruments that are being used are.
What do you mean? Chris loves this.
They're simulating fellatio.
Sounds like my dad's cow call. My
just
dad
get your head
does,
out of the gutter.
Anytime you drive by cows with my dad, he goes.
Careful, that's number 14.
That might be a catchphrase. It might deserve to be a catchphrase. Greg Cody, every time he drives past cows.
As any good parent would do. This is honestly something that I've picked up. Now, anytime if I'm with my daughter and we drive by cows, I am. Zaz, you don't do this?
Or you just keep your eyes on the road.
Well, you can keep your eyes on the road and make a cow sound. Like you can. Both things can be true. No.
Does your daughter acknowledge it, or does she just like sit there with her iPad?
She just, at this point, I'm embarrassing her, and she just like rolls her eyes. So
this video need to be blurred, by the way.
Fabian Wenzel, 5 times in a row he's won this thing.
Yeah, you mentioned that. It was weird that you would have that knowledge, and for some reason you decided to mention 5-time champion Fabian.
Throat goat.
Hall of Famer.
These people look exactly as I would have imagined that all of them look. They're all
white.
They're wearing, well, yeah, but not just, not. This is pornographic. This shouldn't be on television. This shouldn't be allowed.
If you're watching at work, we're sorry.
This is wrong. What's happening here?
But also right.
No, there's nothing right about what we just did, including not our judgment. Our judgment was not right.
We're gonna try to get Fabian Wenzel on.
Have we seen the woman competition? Just wondering.
Get me the sound of Giannis on Goran Dragic's podcast, please, as Giannis continues to talk in a way that I don't think is serving Giannis at this point. I think Giannis needs to be quiet for a while because I don't know that there's anything. Hypothetically, Zaz, is there anything that he could say right now that isn't going to have the recoil? We always do this, right? We always do this. The first few times the disgruntled superstar talks, we cannot talk enough about it. And then over time, everyone turns on the disgruntled superstar because, at least in part, they're tired of how often others are talking about the disgruntled superstar.
I don't think anything good comes out of any current athletes doing these podcasts. I don't think there's anything good that comes out of it. And in this case with Giannis, unless he were, and I've not heard this yet, unless he's going to get out there and talk about all the mistakes he made over the last year in allowing this story to become what it's become, I don't think it's good for any of these guys to talk.
Let's credit Gogij's Garage, which is a real podcast. And one of the things that you'll see is hanging over Giannis's shoulder is 2 banners for both of his championships that he won in Milwaukee.
Let's play that sound.
This was the first time that it was like real.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, like it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it was real, that I won in the trade. Like it was, bro, everywhere I went, like in the street, people would tell me, don't leave, don't this, don't do that, please stay, this. If I'd ever been in that position, if I could chase something, maybe I come out and shut it down, because I think people wasn't listening to me. Like I was saying, like, oh, Giannis, come out and act for a trade. Giannis, come out and do this. Giannis. I'm like, first of all, people that I respect and people that I love, I would have conversations with them. And I had my coach, my GM, you know, people that I
closed door, of course,
yeah, you know. But I kept saying, like, I would say, guys, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. Oh, yeah, whatever. Blah, blah. Giannis is going to the Knicks. Okay. 2 weeks later, I'm here, guys. I'm locked in. I got hurt, but I'm coming back to play here. Oh, Giannis is going to Miami. They wasn't listening to what I was saying, right? So, you know, if I could turn the time back, I would maybe say, come out a little bit earlier. It's like, hey, guys, hey, this ends today. Look at me in my eyes. I'm staying with Milwaukee until further notices. Ends today. Stop, you know, making stories and after stories and after stories.
I thought Goran Dragic was great in that clip.
He's adorable, man.
I love him so much.
But Giannis did it again there, where he said, I'm staying in. I wish I would have went back and said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in Milwaukee. And then he added, until further notice. You could say that about anything.
Yes, that's correct. Until further notice changes everything.
I'm staying here until I decide that I'm not anymore. That's what he just said.
It's why him flirting with the concept of loving Miami is so funny, because on
Why
the
is he
same
doing
on
that?
the same podcast, it was Goran trying to recruit him. They're talking about Miami. They're asking him
That's what
this
they
or
do on
that
Gogie's
questions.
Garage. I mean, come
It's
on.
great. That's what it's there for. The garage is to recruit.
He said that he doesn't like L.A. because it's too flashy, but Miami too superficial. Let's get that
No, we're
sound.
authentic here.
Let's get the sound of how it is that Los Angeles is too superficial, but Miami has great depth, the depth of a library.
Vacation, LA or Miami?
Miami. I think LA is superficial. I don't like LA.
You can't know Miami at all and think it's not superficial.
It's less superficial than LA. We can agree with that.
Is it?
Yes.
Is
I
it?
mean,
Yes.
No.
Come on. Oh, Mike, please.
You've never been to California.
How have I never been to California? I've been more to,
You know why.
I've been to California more than you have.
No, you haven't.
California off.
Oh, wow.
Also, we'll talk after the show. Lean in.
Who's been to California more often?
It's been a California off.
We're not-
I've been
we're not
many
doing a
times.
California off.
Many times. He's afraid.
We're
He's
not.
afraid. He doesn't know that I've been many, many times.
All right, put it on the poll, Juju, at Batard Show. More superficial, Los Angeles or Miami?
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I do want to get to the playoffs in both sports in a second, but how real or done is A.J. Brown to the Patriots? Like, this is something that just gets whispered about, and the stock response from the Eagles, because I'm assuming that they're trying to keep A.J. Brown till at least June 1st, has been A.J. Brown's an Eagle. A.J. Brown's an Eagle. But there's been so much talk about the fact that he's not going to be an Eagle. How done is him to the Patriots?
It's basically done. They're waiting for post-June 1st.
I mean, it was in big, bright red letters on ESPN.com, and that usually signals imminent.
Oh, but all I saw on ESPN.com was WrestleMania.
Was that this weekend?
It was Seth Rollins' report, actually.
So
please credit him.
How did ESPN used to cover WrestleMania? I'm asking this sincerely. Before WrestleMania became a product for ESPN, and I imagine that this will be interesting to some people. We remember when baseball dominated ESPN, and then ESPN lost hockey. And when they lost hockey, they stopped covering hockey in a way that was meaningful. And when they got it back, they covered it more meaningfully. But I've rarely seen in the history of ESPN what they're presently doing with WrestleMania, which is, this is ours. And so understandably, we're going to go well out of our way to cover this in a way that we have never come close to covering anything like this before. We can agree that ESPN's wrestling coverage throughout the history of ESPN has been poor, yes? Poor or non-existent?
I wouldn't even say poor. I mean, it's either been non-existent or like there was a WrestleMania maybe in the last 2, 3, 4 years where, you know, the night of WrestleMania, after it ended on the 11 p.m. Sports Center, they may show a highlight of what happened in the main event, but that would be it.
Yeah, I remember like 6 years ago or so, Jonathan Coachman hosted a Sports Center live from a WrestleMania, but usually once a year they would pay some attention to it. But, I mean, it was every block of programming throughout the week.
Was it rejected? Was it accepted? Like, how did people feel about it? Because it's a strange. People don't like change. This isn't something ESPN has done before. And I also think it's fair to say, right, given the partnerships, that this is a bit bought, right? This feels
it's totally bought. Not a bit. Like, it's absolutely bought. Look, I like the WWE and I like ESPN. I hated the week run up.
I didn't like it either.
To this, it was just way too much, and I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not like get the eyes away from my thing. I like more people in the tent, but it was just way too much.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. Again, I'm not gatekeeping either. I want people to watch and understand the thing that I love for my entire life. I feel like if you give it a chance, you may love it also. But the coverage, there was so much coverage that it's already like a taboo thing to be a pro wrestling fan. And now I felt like there's more people who are looking and pointing going, this shit's stupid. You know, it's like, and I didn't like that there are like more people hating on the thing that I love.
Well, I think that most people who are watching ESPN are used to, quote unquote, the real sports, the stuff that isn't scripted. I also think that I've told you that Ari Emanuel, the agent for Pat McAfee, has said that he wants to make Pat McAfee Sylvester Stallone, and that behooves ESPN as well. So he's a central figure at the center of this. And I've told you guys before that Nick Khan, one of the real power brokers in America, not just sports, period, that Nick Khan was the agent for all of the people at ESPN. And many people said for years that Nick Khan was actually the one running ESPN because he was the one who was putting all of his people in power at ESPN. He saw it was falling apart. He saw everything that was happening there in terms of he had topped out the amount of money that he was going to make for himself and for his people. And then he went over there and graduated to the next portion of his career, which is working with Dana White in these circles where he can just provide streaming for people. These things are powerhouse economic vehicles. And I am simply curious, the audience more than Mike, when you say you love wrestling and you love ESPN, this would seem to cause a recoil, I would think, when you're seeing that your entity, which for 20 years has at least in part trafficked in the credibility of being a journalistic entity, being this clearly bought, where I'm softening it by saying it feels a bit bought, and you two are wrestling fans and you're saying, no, it's not a bit bought. They're doing infomercials for WrestleMania because they're trying to increase the numbers for WrestleMania, and why wouldn't they? That's what television networks do.
They spent $325 million on this deal. It's already being reported, and people are talking that there's already buyer's remorse on this.
Yeah, but who the hell knows?
I think we can kind of glean something from the amount of promotion. I do think that's a bit of a tell. The WWE fan right now is paying more than it ever has to get PLEs. Now, some of these people get ESPN Unlimited via their cable packages, and they make it difficult on purpose. You'll be subscribed to multiple things. It's very difficult to tell. But I'm paying more than ever to get just approximately 12 events a year. Usually you would get the entire catalog, and that's what was so valuable to Peacock. Here they're just getting 12 tentpole events a year. I'm paying more than ever, and I'm on a streamer that is behind a paywall. I'm getting commercials. Okay, I've grown accustomed to that. Live events, even if I'm paying a price monthly, I get commercials. What was interesting to see is that this was kind of a big week for the narrative surrounding TKO's ownership. Like, they've really put their stamp on this product now, and they're all over ESPN, and it's a capitalist venture. Tickets were not nearly as good as the last time that they ran Las Vegas. Running Las Vegas back-to-back years was a cash grab, and it showed. Last year they had over 75,000 people on each night. This year, night one, 50,000, night two, 55.
The tickets are so expensive.
Dan, the commercials, like, They did the stats, like entrances, which I think wrestling fans, to nitpick on that, it's WrestleMania. There's pageantry involved. The entrances are theatrical. That's part of it. You get longer entrances. But the in-ring action was the thing that was least represented on WrestleMania. Spots outnumbered. The amount of commercial breaks outnumbered the amount of in-ring action.
For context, Dan, like night one, which was really the night on Saturday night, which was super polarizing, and I was really upset after night one. I was. And I never get upset with pro wrestling because I love it. It's like I wouldn't watch it if I didn't love it. And I found myself, like, I was upset. Not because, like, I didn't think it was a good show. It's because I was really troubled at where I think the thing that I love, the direction it may be headed. That was very unsettling to me. It was a 4-hour show, and the total action was like an hour and a half of 4 hours. Mm-hmm. And there was almost a full hour of commercials. Yeah. How could there be commercials on WrestleMania? I'm sitting there, and there are commercials?
Well, the same thing can be said about actual action compared to commercials about pro football. But pro football is still on network television.
Yeah, I'm not paying extra for pro football.
I think for me, the biggest problem was the length of these commercial breaks, because streamers aren't beholden to your standard 2-minute break.
They were just 4 minutes.
5, 10 minutes. I think between the space between the sub-headliner and the main event, there was like 40 minutes of spots and entrances, and you're just like totally sucked out of it.
Well, and you know where that comes? That's like a very UFC thing, where they're going to stretch out. They're going to wait and wait and wait, and then here's the main event.
Juxtapose night one to night two. I think night two was them saying we got the feedback because the pacing was totally different.
I hope so, because last night was much better.
Well, let me just, when you say you're worried about the direction this is headed, I could do it throughout sports, right? I've been really surprised at how well Amazon has covered the basketball playoffs, because to have all of that go off without a hitch when you've never done it before, and whatever it costs just to get Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki, Udonis Haslem to sit next to each other, and they're just spending an enormous amount of money to make sure that they get this right. But of course, whoever wins here is going to then become a NASCAR. Like the way that NASCAR, a lot of people objected to all the advertising on the cars. All this stuff exists for the advertising. Like it is the reason that all of this is becoming, instead of the enjoyable customer experience that you might prefer at the ambiance of the ballpark, it's all programming now. like you guys object when I say it doesn't matter that much whether fans go there. It still does for now. But when you're talking about the direction that this is headed, whoever the 4 or 5 winners are in sports are going to need to get their money back because the Padres just went for $3.9 billion.
Right. Well, I don't think ESPN's going to get their money back from this ESPN deal, and I think we'll find out together what the next deal is. I think Nick Khan and TKO should send a huge fruit basket to CM Punk and Roman Reigns because they close.
What a match, Dan!
They close the entire event with what is considered a classic match that actually left. That's your last impression. Okay, this entire weekend isn't a disaster, but. Look, TKO has introduced plenty of things that were taboo for wrestling. There's ads all over the mat.
I don't care so much about that.
I don't really notice it, but you do have Brock Lesnar putting his boots and his gloves on top of a logo that says "The General."
Every match is sponsored.
Every match is sponsored. It's
They're
a lot.
allowed to make money.
But here's the interesting thing: in America, there are 2 fan bases that actually have power that rival European soccer fans. It's SEC football fans with message board culture and wrestling fans. And the reason why wrestling fans have so much power is pretty much everybody in the business is a wrestling fan. So the criticisms actually do connect. And that is what you saw from night 1 to night 2.
I hope
because
so.
We reached a critical mass on TKO injecting this TKO capitalism into this product, and people were rejecting it. In fact, even after yesterday's great main event, Roman Reigns joined the post show, and there were chants that came out over the broadcast.
Good.
FTKO.
Good.
Netflix ran into this when they dabbled with baseball. There's going to be upheaval, change that fans are not good with. It's anything that's not what you're used to. Is going to be something that the customer recoils on. But you guys do understand, right? If these people are paying this much for all of these things, for their television programming, they have to make their money back. Like, they can lose money for a little while, but when you talk about the direction all this is headed in, like, we're going to head back to commercials. Amazon and Netflix are already doing things with commercials, and we're going to keep going. Like, the part about this that is problematic for the sports fan is once you've given the sports fans no commercials, you can't go back and start giving them commercials. People were complaining all season that the Red Zone has commercials.
Right, but people are rejecting it, and at that point, it does matter. These high ticket prices are in part to blame for fewer people there, but it's also the product. And the atmosphere in night 1, because of the commercial breaks and the pacing and the fact that night 1 was just abysmal, you're pricing out your most passionate fans that add to the atmosphere, that add to this being a big event. And Dan, the attendance doesn't lie. The arrow is not pointing up anymore. Wrestling was on a heater 2 years ago with WrestleMania 40. They parlayed that into these big contracts, but the people that are there year over year are feeling priced out. They're feeling ostracized. They're being turned off by the product, and they are raising their voice. And luckily, so far, it seems as though even though Nick Khan went on a podcast,
so far it's 24 hours.
Nick Khan went on a podcast and flatly said, you can complain, but it doesn't change our direction. That's not typically the case with WWE. They usually, it may take a while, but eventually the customer does get to dictate the terms. And this thing is going to continue. It's not going to go away with one successful main event between Roman Reigns and CM Punk.
The thing, though, that I keep bringing up to you guys because of the business model, okay? Unrivaled, the local league here brought in to compete against the WNBA is basically just a sound stage. It might as well be a studio where television is made and they happen to play basketball. It's a sound stage. When you talk about UFC as a giant product that can be a model for everyone on how to build a sports franchise, all of their production is self-contained. They come over and they just sell you this thing and they get television money from it. So when you complain about the crowds at a UFC event being down or the gate being down, it doesn't really, they'll keep diluting all of that the more television money they get. And because the television money dwarfs the customer, what they're going to do with the television money is they're going to put NASCAR ads on all the cars, and they're going to test you right up until you've got ads right up to your nose, because of course they're going to be greeting about making sure they get all of their money back, because they've got their guaranteed money, and the dollars are crazy because you've got Amazon and Netflix with all the money in the world vying to be one of the 5 remaining companies in America that is making a giant amount of money and running a monopolistic America.
So when we talk about TKO owning WWE and the UFC and how the differences are in the production of both, and Dana's involvement with TKO and with UFC, they said he's not really into the matchmaking. That's Hunter. He's taken his hands off a lot of things, but one thing he hasn't taken his hands on is the production of the fight night, right? And that's been such a big
Wait, they have
thing.
a guy in UFC called Hunter also?
Hunter Campbell.
Huh.
He's the head matchmaker. He's like the second-hand guy.
Yeah,
for
Hunter
Dana.
Hearst Helmsley's a head matchmaker in WWE.
Interesting.
Not really.
But I'm trying to help my teammate out there.
It's not a common name. But also, it's a kayfabe name. His name is not actually Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah, it's Triple H.
Speaking of fake names, I saw an ad here the other day for an attorney. It just says accident in giant letters with a question mark. And then the attorney's name is Amanda Demanda.
She had to change her name legally.
Amanda Demanda. It's in Spanish.
I know. It's not a real name. Like, I don't know.
That's not true.
It's now her real name.
Well, but
anyway, so the point I was making before you came in with Amanda Demanda is that to Zazo's point, they had these 40-minute stretches in WrestleMania where they had commercials and all this stuff. Like, UFC is militant about the times between fights, what they fill that time in with. They're putting a promo on. They're doing some sort of story. Like, they're very tight on the broadcast of not allowing 1,000 commercials and all these different things. Like, if there's a knockout in a fight, you're getting a 5-minute piece, and then you're getting on to the next fight. Like, they're very quick on moving things over.
Roy, what is your video of the day today?
You have more knowledge about this than I do, Dan.
All right, let's go ahead and put up Roy's video of the day. Just put it in a corner and just run it for a little while as we talk about other things and move on to other things. What are you laughing
I told you
about?
Coachella's stupid, Mike. Look at that.
What are you laughing at?
It looks very dangerous. A bunch of tents twisting in the wind. They got to land somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice video.
Yeah, good job, Roy.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Yeah, well done.
Effort by you. Can I talk a little bit here about what has happened over the last 4 days, where you go from the Clippers being eliminated and possibly ending Kawhi's time with the Clippers, with Draymond Green playing unbelievable defense on Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard saying after the game, he's a Hall of Fame defender, what do you want me to do? So you go from that to they get blown out, their season is over. Steve Kerr says there's an expiration date on jobs like his, which feels like goodbye. And it ends with Draymond Green, not surprisingly, being ejected, down double digits. Their disaster season, and really the end of a dynasty, right? Because Clay leaving there didn't become the end of the dynasty. The dynasty was still holding on to can Steph come back and resuscitate something over the last 3 years, but that's the official end of the dynasty when you lose not getting into the playoffs. And not surprisingly, at the end of the game, Draymond Green just gets thrown out, talking on what I imagine will be the punctuation of all of that being over there. Golden State ending that franchise's run for a decade quietly with their furnace of fury just sort of barking at the crowd and doing the professional wrestling stuff on the way off the court. What are your thoughts on that being over now when that was they've been the Patriots for the last 10 years. Like what the basketball equivalent of what the Patriots were for 20 years is what the Warriors have been.
Yeah, not too different from where the Heat sit right now, where there's no real direction, and they have older players. Now, look, Steph Curry is still a really, really good older player, but they have older players who make a ton of money. And, I mean, the Heat have been in the play in 4 consecutive years. The Warriors have 3 consecutive years. Like, It's kind of a similar spot, and it doesn't feel like they're going to trade anyone. They're kind of just stuck.
But they still have Steph Curry. And
Yeah,
when
they
he's
still have
healthy,
someone fun.
He's
yeah.
an alien. And while I do think that this is different, it should be noted we were having similar conversations about the whole Golden State thing being done in 2021 when they were eliminated from the play-in by the Memphis Grizzlies. And in 2022, they won the NBA championship. So they found themselves in this spot before, and they rebounded to the very top of the sport.
4 years is a long time.
And they were a long time.
Yeah, but Steph Curry is going to continue to age well in that sport, even though I'll admit he's been more hurt this year than I think anybody anticipated.
They were able to make tweaks with that roster in a way that they might be unable to because of the Jimmy Butler money. They have $60 million wrapped up in him. Now, if you can get another team to bite on that being an expiring deal and maybe attaching more, it's just a matter of whether they're willing to sacrifice the future for one last run at it when the West looks the way that it does, or if they want to just kind of ride it out.
It's over. It's over.
All right, I'm marking it.
It is over in Golden State.
Did you think it was over in 2021?
No, there's an organizational reset that's going to happen here. They're going to not be able to get an inexperienced coach because you can't have Jimmy Butler on your team. I would assume that Steph Curry does not end his career with the Warriors.
Really?
That's
I
big,
disagree.
Dan.
Well, then if
You know,
that's
the one
the case,
takeaway I was going to say is that Steph still has a lot in the tank. Obviously, he had 27 missed games because of a knee injury, but like if he's healthy and ready to go, like that's a guy that can help any team instantly.
well, if the NBA thinks that the Warriors thing is over, then for those that are whale hunting, you're prioritizing the wrong guys.
So here is some sound, wired for sound. It ends unceremoniously, but this is the last of the dynasty here. These three guys, it's Draymond and Steph and Steve Kerr, and they're wired for sound. And you tell me if this doesn't sound like Steve Kerr saying goodbye.
I don't know what's going to happen next, but I love you guys to death, and thank you. I appreciate you.
That might be him saying goodbye to Draymond.
Nah, he's tapping both of them.
Yeah,
It's a cool moment.
Yeah. I don't know. That could, yes, you could say that's him saying goodbye. It's definitely him saying goodbye to somebody.
You guys are of the belief that Steph plays his entire career with the Warriors?
He's one of those guys that is hard to, especially when you consider he's still like really good when he's on
I
the
saw
court.
Wade play for two more teams. Like,
I know.
They have
different.
to. They have to.
That was about money.
They have to restructure everything, though, and now the coach that he's comfortable with and that he's used to, if you bring someone else in there, Steph must not recognize what is presently happening. The idea that Steph's team doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're not. What happened with Dwayne Wade is the Miami Heat were projecting his style of play, the fact that his game might have tailed off a little bit, injuries catching up with him, and while you can maybe latch on to the injuries with Steph Curry, and everybody's always been worried about his ankles, he is held up as the example of, like, that guy. You want to talk about LeBron playing to 50? That guy is going to be lethal from the outside for as long as he wants. He could be a 65-year-old man, and you cannot leave him open.
They only have $15 million on the books for 27-28. So they have all this money wrapped up in next year. But after next year, when so many of those deals are expiring contracts, they haven't extended Podziemski, they haven't extended DeAnthony Melton or anybody like that. They have $15 million, and 13 of those are Moses Moody. They'll have tremendous financial flexibility after next season. If he's still playing on that level, he might stick around and watch them build one last thing around him.
He's got 1 year, $62 million left. That's 26-27, 27-20. He's a unrestricted free agent. So it's like you're looking at Steph and you're like, all right, is he on the timeline of maybe I go over and help another team try to get a championship? Because there's so many teams in the West that he can fit in perfectly. And it's like,
he fits anywhere. He fits anywhere. He was asked, okay, how many years he has left on his career, and he said multiple for sure. He was asked if he was interested in an extension. He said for sure, but none of those conversations have happened, so it'll be a busy summer for the Warriors. Ramona Shelburne is reporting that if Kerr leaves, it could signal the start of a much deeper, sweeping shift. That path has been described by several team sources as an organizational reset and could lead to further notable changes to the roster and coaching staff. Those folks were very loud, Lacob loudest among them, of saying that they were light years ahead of everybody. And now They didn't make the playoffs in a league that you can make the argument after the first week of playoff games that there are 10 teams in that league that aren't trying, and there are 10 more that aren't good enough, and then there are 10 more that are closer to having a championship chance, and really 5 that have an actual championship chance unless you get flukery out of the three-pointer. But notable changes in Golden State, you've gone from your owner's saying we're light years ahead of everybody to you didn't make the playoffs and you lost to the team that just lost by 100 to Oklahoma City and has no chance in that series. None. 0% chance the Phoenix Suns have of knocking out Oklahoma City. You didn't make the playoffs. Now, I understand that you were hurt this year. It's not an accurate assessment because Steph didn't play. But if you're light years ahead of everybody, you don't keep Steph. You go and get whatever Steph demands now because Steph's not going to be worth in 2 or 3 years what he's worth right now. Right now, he's still somebody who changes an entire franchise's hope and ticket prices right now. Mm-hmm. But he's 37. Like, Mike can say what he's saying. He's right. The jump shot's not going anywhere. He's going to be able to make jumpers, but he was hurt more. That's what happens when you age. You're going to sit there with him and Jimmy Butler? You're gonna see how that goes again with Jimmy Butler? You're not going to see how that goes again with Draymond, are you?
If Steph Curry, and we just heard him say it there, plans to play several more years, wants a contract extension, so it's going to be a busy summer for the Warriors. There's no way that you trade him if he doesn't want to play somewhere else. There's no way. There's no, and I'll tell you what else. The place where Golden State really screwed up, and yes, they ended up winning another championship in 2022, but the place where they really screwed up, and especially for a franchise who's light years in front of everybody, they had the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 draft, and they got nothing. Nothing.
That would have extended his career. Big time.
They got nothing.
Can you guys explain to me, though, who else you're putting in this category with Steph as a guy who's going to get exactly the ending that he wants with the team that he wants? That, like, I feel like this one goes bad all the time with the aging superstar.
Jokic.
Okay, but the last thing we heard from somebody before he signed his recent extension, they brought up, before one of his MVP ceremonies, they brought up, well, we don't know if we need to trade him in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, Kroenke just brought up when nobody was talking about it.
It was weird.
No, we could trade Jokic.
It was weird.
It's uncalled for.
So Jokic is fine now, but it's been like a 5-year run of Jokic. I'm saying in the class of the ending is coming, and no one gets the nice ending anymore. Giannis isn't getting it. Dame isn't getting it. There's the nice ending.
Dame is kind of getting it now.
Right. That nobody is in the position that you're granting Steph, which is that he's such a warrior that you cannot imagine right now the Warriors without him. But you're not putting a lot of people in that class in basketball. It's become a transient sport no matter how popular you are.
Dan, I'm a big fan of what you're doing right now. No one's talking about Steph Curry potentially being available. Maybe with good reason, because why would you? But man, do I want this guy in the conversation.
The guy that gets the ending that everybody wants just because he's been a mercenary his whole life, James Harden. Can kind of go out and everybody's like, hey, James Harden,
that guy
hell of a career.
He's getting exactly the ending he wanted. Yeah. It just confuses the hell out of everybody, but he's doing what he wants.
I don't know if you guys saw, though, that James Harden is a 36% career three-point shooter, and he's shooting 44% in Cleveland. And not only that, Jared Allen wants to spend all his time with James Harden because all it is Jared Allen at the rim with lobs. From the weekend, Zaz, you were saying that you didn't like any of the games. The only interesting one. I did like the play-in games. The play-in games were fun. And I'm not going to just skip past the fact that the oldest player in the league is beating the Houston Rockets, whether they have Kevin Durant or not. I'm not going to become immune to the greatness of LeBron James by seeing the oldest player in the league win a playoff game when he doesn't have his 2 best players and he's out there with the greatest shooter anyone's ever seen, Kennard, according to Stan Van Gundy. Old Luke Kennard.
I owe him an apology. I have a top 5 guys that I shouldn't have doubted their game to start the first weekend of the NBA playoffs, Dan.
He made all of his shots. Stan Van Gundy has said he said he's a better shooter than Steph. He
says he's the best pure shooter he's ever seen.
But he can't get a shot off the way Steph.
And he hit the backboard that one time.
Well, maybe he's never seen Steph.
I mean, Zaz definitely owes the Lakers an apology.
I
Oh
said
my
Lakers
God.
weren't going to win a single game in the playoffs.
A game is how he said it.
I think I
That
didn't
was
know,
a no thank you, Tony.
I mean, I didn't know that Durant was not going to
We'll
play.
see in a little bit.
I don't get like a mulligan for that.
That Durant didn't play?
Kind of a big thing.
Well, I would say which is a bigger thing, just hypothetically before that game is being played. If I tell you Doncic and Austin Reeves are out.
But I knew Doncic and Reeves were out.
I know, but if I simply say to you which harms which team the worst, Durant being out or Doncic
Good question.
and Reeves both being out, and LeBron spending the game throwing the ball to DeAndre Ayton, who last time we heard from JJ Redick said he just has trouble catching the ball.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Yes, I understand that your prediction was before Durant was out. So you're saying, do you deserve a mulligan?
Oh my God, Zazzle, Panthers missed the playoffs. I didn't know everybody was going to be hurt.
I mean, your prediction was before we knew what the matchup was, period. So it could have been literally against anyone, and you said they won't win
I
a
don't
game.
know about
so now
that.
you're doing
I don't
mental
know about
gymnastics.
that.
You want me to go back and find the first time you did?
I don't know about that.
You wanna
I'm
go-
just
you wanna see it?
predicting they're not going to. How did I know that they weren't going to play Portland in the first round?
Could I have given you a better symbolic ending to the Warriors season than them losing by double digits and Draymond Green getting ejected with 17 seconds left for arguing with Devin Booker and then taunting the crowd on his way out?
Chef's kiss ending.
I mean,
if we were writing the movie, we'd be like, come on. What are you doing?
I mean, he won't shut up, okay? He's down double digits. You explain this to me because it's something I legitimately don't understand.
Love's not shutting up.
Yeah, but when you're down, your season's over. Like, that's just
the best time to do it. You got nothing left.
But all that's there, though, is crybaby frustration that's not in any way adult. It's just lashing out,
He
right?
was acting such a fool as he was walking off the court.
But it's not. When you think of, okay, we think of, how many times do you see in hockey a playoff series ends and somebody's indignant because one person in the entire hockey playoffs didn't shake hands with the other guys? And look at how Draymond does it. And they must be so tired of him inside of that locker room. They just have to be. It has to be a daily kind of wearying that this person exists and won't shut up. We all know this person, right? That no matter what they're presented with, they just won't shut up.
I'm telling you, if we were to play the Steve Kerr thing again, I'm pretty sure when he says, I don't know what's going to happen next, I think he's looking right at Draymond.
All right.
Draymond is the only one that responds. Like, you hear Draymond say, I love you too.
All right, well, let's see this for a second, because I thought Steve Kerr was talking about himself. I didn't think he was talking, but let's see if he was looking at Draymond here. Let's look at this again.
I don't know what's going to happen next, but I love you guys to death, and thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, when he was saying, I don't know what's going to happen next, he was looking at Draymond. When he said thank you, he turned to Steph.
He's patting them both on the back.
I'm on to you, Steve
I
Kerr.
do think he said thank you and I love you to Steph and said, I don't know what's going to happen next to Draymond.
On to you, man.
What else from the playoff weekend, hockey or basketball, got your attention? Because you checked out on the basketball playoffs.
I gave hockey a try this year.
And you were rewarded. I think there were some really good games on the hockey
Oh,
side.
the Canadiens. That's who I root for when the Panthers are out.
Dan, it was during COVID, and people may have missed this, but it's rare when you get a first-round matchup that's a Stanley Cup rematch. And that's what we have with the 2021 Western Conference champion Montreal Canadiens taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is going to be a great series. When they played during the regular season, these matchups were a little feisty. As you know, whenever you play in a Stanley Cup, those emotions never really go away. And it was really cool to see meaningful playoff hockey back in Buffalo for a crowd that was starved. I guess from a silver lining from this whole season is you kind of get some new crowds getting to taste playoff hockey, and they are not taking it for granted while the Panthers sit this one out.
Dan, the first playoff game of the weekend was the Canes and the Senators, and this never happens in playoff hockey. They dropped the puck on the opening faceoff, but you could see right before they dropped the puck, Jordan Stahl, captain of the Canes, is taking the faceoff. He's a center, and Brady Tkachuk, captain of the Senators, he's on the wing. And Kachuk looks at Stahl and goes, "You want to go?" And Stahl just shakes his head, yes. And so they drop it's the opening face-off
of the entire playoffs. Brady Kachuk is fighting.
Drop the puck. They both immediately drop the gloves. They're throwing haymakers. That shit was awesome.
Anderson was unbelievable in that game. We got Anaheim Edmonton is a sneaky, really fun one right now. The NHL playoffs always deliver. I'm so happy Zaz finally made it.
I'm giving it a try.
When you say you're a fan of the Canadians, that's not something I was aware of when the hockey has eliminated the Panthers. Is it that you're a fan of the Canadians or you hate Tampa?
No, both. Obviously hate Tampa. I'd be rooting hard for whoever they're playing. But no, I want the Canadiens to win it all. My family's from Montreal. Yeah, I lived there when I was little, so I've always liked the Canadiens.
Great American player that plays for Montreal too, Cole Caulfield.
The basketball from the weekend, you tuned it out.
Terrible.
You're fearing that this is what it's going to be, right?
No.
Well, because this margin of victory is unusual, and this keeps happening with the three-pointers, right? Where the teams are separated in terms of who's good and who's great in a way that's fairly obvious, right? Like, don't you think I have it right when I say in that league where we are, 10 of the teams aren't trying at all, and the next 10 up aren't good enough in a way that is going to distort many of the results. You didn't have any close games.
There was only one that was interesting, and it was because Orlando was ahead by like 9 the entire game against Detroit.
But that was the closest of all the games,
Yes.
I believe.
None of the games were in doubt in the fourth quarter.
That's not great. And it happens more than it used to, like because numerically everyone they've just distorted the game so much with all of these threes.
That's the part that has troubled me about the NBA playoffs over the last few years, where I think there's less and less moments in the late games because the game is played so much faster, slower in the playoffs than regular season, but because the game is played so much faster in the playoffs and it's just three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer, there are less individual great, huge moments than there used to be.
The average point difference in the games in basketball was, you want to take a guess? You guys want to take an average guess?
This weekend?
Yes, take a stab at the average number.
17?
18.1 was the number. There was one single-digit game, and that brought down the average because 18.1 is crazy. And Denver started slow. I thought Jovic was interested in saying he didn't want the rest. They were rolling, and he didn't want to take 6 days off. Detroit gets clubbed at home because Orlando's been playing playoff games for a week.
The draft is where hope begins and bad decisions live forever. Come watch it unfold with us. Draft Watch, presented by Bucked Up. Thursday at 7:45 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube at Batard Show.
So the end of the week is going to be a grueling grind for the employees of this particular network. We are going to be doing 5 shows before we get to Friday, and one of them is Thursday night off the draft because you all know how much I love the draft. Thursday night, live draft coverage. The Dolphins, it's a giant day for the Dolphins because the Dolphins have a lot of draft picks. The thing that I wanted to ask you guys about, because I am fascinated by it, we talk all the time around here about the dollars that athletes make. To me, it's been strange. I had this conversation with Samson the other day. He thinks it's always been so. It has not always been so that we always have known the salaries of the players. That is something that has changed the way we view sports. The fact that every damn contract that's out there has a dollar figure, and you know what your franchise assigns as a value to the player. The Padres selling for $3.9 billion. That's football money, okay? That's Walmart, Denver Broncos type money. Floored me because of the inflation that has happened in baseball. The Padres in 2012, Zaslow, sold for $800 million. The Padres. And I thought they were crazy to go get Blake Snell and Machado. And I'm like, what are they doing? They're the Padres. Well, what they're doing is turning their franchise into something. Petco Park sells out a lot. Petco Park is top 5 in attendance. San Diego's a weird market in that it's one of the biggest cities in the United States. I think it's top 10 biggest city in the United States, but it's not one of the biggest media markets. Like, I don't think it's top 30 in media market. So it's a giant city, but it's not a giant media market. The fact that San Diego doesn't have very much in the way of real sports, but right in the middle of a beautiful city on the water, they've now got a franchise that just sold for $4 billion. Why is it that people care so little about what the owners make, but care so much about what the players make? And generally speaking, when we have conversations about labor versus management, most people end up siding with management, even though what I just said to you, there aren't very many things that in sports that have an inflation rate of that one, where you go from $800 million in 2012 to $3.9 million. You go from the Mets going for $2.4 billion at the beginning of the pandemic to now the Padres are worth $1.5 billion more than that. So just the difference between the Mets and the Padres is twice as much as what the Padres went for in total in 2012. That inflation rate is nuts and proves that sports franchises are almost always a great investment.
Well, when you say, why don't fans care about what owners make, I think fans care about what owners make when they're not then putting it back into the team, the same way fans care what players make if they're not performing for the team. Like, I think that's the correlation there.
Oh, but I think there's been a shift, though, with fantasy football and an assortment of things that makes us all our own GMs, that people now in fandom, smarter than they've ever been, more informed than they've ever been, actually like to assess, is my player overvalued or is he undervalued? Am I getting value from that pick? It's no longer, is he just good? It's also, in the construction of my team, is this something that is valuable? And I'll tell you what's happening with kids that has floored me when it comes to the infection of whatever it is that fantasy football does. Too many kids now following sports. I'm not saying too many as in too many, although that too. But many kids are watching sports, and these aren't human beings. They're just numbers. That it's all they are is an assortment of numbers that fit into however it is you fantasy GM, because you've made the shift from how good is my player to how much value am I getting from my player.
Well, and it's not just the fantasy, it's also how prevalent the gambling is now. Like, the gambling is a massive thing now. Like, my older son is way into the gambling. So, yeah, like, I think that now is playing a major role.
It's changed the way that fandom is experienced, though. Would you guys be interested? Do you guys think you would have the same interest if I tell you, baseball player X is getting a $150 million contract? If I gave you the information every year at the end of a baseball season, here's how much the Padres reported to the government as earnings. Like, would that be interesting to people in the same way, or is it just the players that's doing this? Because I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested. I don't understand why the Portland Trailblazers are presently being run the way they're being run.
Cheaply.
Yeah, but
the guy that owns the Carolina Hurricanes also bought it from the Paul Allen estate, is now like doing a lot of things that are kind of not in the NBA, usual, which is you go to the playoffs, you get a T-shirt. They're like, no T-shirts for the playoffs. And everybody's like, wait, what?
They did that down here for a little bit.
Yeah, but come on, this is a Class A franchise.
They're not sending their two-way players on the road for the postseason.
Also, something that doesn't happen.
It's crazy.
They're trying to check out of hotel rooms early so that they don't have to pay for the extra half day.
Are players doubling up in hotel rooms?
I don't know if they're doing that, but they're not having as many for like staff and people that work for the team. They're like, all right, you can be in the conference room for 7 hours.
No.
They're trying to save money that way. And it's like, you guys spent a lot of money. You own 2 sports franchises. You got the money. What are you going to – and they also – another thing that I thought was crazy was they're looking for the new head coach, and they're like, all right, the new head coach for the Portland Trailblazers, we want him to take less money. We want him to be less expensive. So if you want to make $3 million a year coaching the Trailblazers, you can do that.
I mean, they're allowed to spend whatever they want to spend, and then fans are allowed to get mad about it.
Well, but it would make sense, right? If all of America, all of American business is being affected by the fact that people are coming in and slashing costs so that you minimize inefficiency. Do you know how much inefficiency there is in how much it costs for these teams to travel? Like, it's going to be something that makes an appearance here and there where people are going to continue to get to the thing and then cut the soul out of the thing because they're doing everything to save costs because everything in every economy feels like it's shaking.
I don't know enough about the dynamics, but I've seen people like Trissa weigh in on this, and this is a bit of a shock to the NBA system. Should be noted, Carolina Hurricanes, while their facilities are often the butt of some jokes and they're trying to do stuff about that, the Carolina ownership and front office is well respected in the NHL.
Why wouldn't everybody come to any business right now and try to make sure that you eliminate inefficiencies? I'll give you one example that I've just learned over the last 5 years because it's the business that we're in. One of the reasons that the documentary business has fallen apart is because in order to tell a story right now, the way that the doc business is working, there are no inefficiencies on where it is that profit can be made. It's been made so skeletal that there's very little profit that can be made on documentary movies in a way that they used to make profit. However, it is that sports teams ended up traveling. And another thing that's happening in documentaries, that Jailblazers documentary isn't very good. And the reason it's not very good is because they just let the players tell their story, and there's just not enough in there. They
don't tell good stories?
Well, it's just not examined. You make your own determination, but it was clear that it was made by the players. It was just obvious that it was made by the players, and in a way, I mean, there's just a lot missing from the story. They're called the Jailblazers, and Bob Wizzett, their former general manager, points out correctly, there have only been 3 teams in NBA history that really have a moniker. It's the Showtime Lakers, it's the Bad Boy Pistons, and it's the Jailblazers. But I left that documentary feeling unsatisfied on as an example, they didn't really even tackle the racial component of what was happening in Portland. Like, they skipped right past it.
Well, Bonzi said as much in his interview with us. It's like, hey, we wanted to make this doc, so we made it. And it's like, yeah, it's only going to be looking very, very good on their end with nothing really to push back on.
But the reason everybody wanted to make the Jailblazers documentary for the last 10 years is to tell the truth, not just to tell the story that you have access to the players so they'll sit down with you. Like, you want the whole truth, not just their truth.
Right, but it became an economy. and it became these empires for these athletes to build out these worlds and these production companies post-career, some doing it during their career, and the athletes aren't going to sign up for the true story. They're going to sign up for their version of events, and that's what's happened to the documentary feature, at least in sports.
It just kills interesting. It's not, if you're going to trade the access for dilution of the truth, you're just making something that's less interesting than it could be.
I understand your perspective because you're a consumer of these things and you also own a media company. It's a bit of a bummer because we aspire to make the interesting documentaries, but you're pretty cut and dry when it comes to the capitalism of all these rights fees. You got to be cut and dry about what this economy is, because if you want to tell an interesting Megan Rapinoe story, Megan Rapinoe will tell it herself.
That's fine, but I'm also interested in the Padres going for $3.9 billion, and it's not because they have to cheapen their product in order to do it. They're not making their product less good. The reason that they're filling their ballpark is because they're interested in competing and make the playoffs 4 out of 6 years and spend big money on big players because they're interested in being the very best.
Shouldn't it be celebrated then, the fact that there's a market for them to go about this? Because a lot of people were scrutinizing. I know David Sampson was like, these contracts are bad. They're going to regret all these contracts. Couldn't believe the price that the Padres went for. And here they are in short order making one hell of an ROI.
The thing with the Padres, too, is like they're making an investment banking on getting more money from baseball over the next several years. When baseball expands, you're going to see like $150 million go toward each team. That's supposed to happen in 2030 or 2031. They're centralizing all of the media. Right now, the disparity in TV contracts between the Dodgers and the Padres is $300 million. It's 330 for the Dodgers. It's 30 for the Padres because they're run internally by MLB when they lost their TV contract a few years ago, and they're banking on MLB centralizing local media. That'll make another $250 million a year. So they're buying it high, and the fascinating part becomes, are the players going to try to use this ownership, use this number as a means to say, hey, you guys can't cry poor and put a salary cap on us. With the CBA coming up, this number is that much more fascinating.
Do you guys not, though, fear a breaking point on this? It can't keep happening this way. Like, it's not, it's just, I've heard this all my life about baseball, right? Giancarlo Stanton's contract was supposed to be something that was unmovable, and now there are plenty of contracts like that. But wouldn't you assume that it can't keep happening this way? What's going to happen is there's going to be a work stoppage, and the sport's going to go away for a while because they can't keep doing it this way. Like, there's no way they avoid a work stoppage. Like, baseball's going to shut down for a while. Like, that's not going to be the WNBA talking about it and posturing. Baseball has done that, and I think it's I don't know what you're hearing in baseball circles, Jeremy, but I would assume that a lockout is all but guaranteed.
Most people think that that's going to happen in some capacity. I think everyone knows that baseball's in a really good place right now. Viewership continues to trend up. There's so many stars in the game. It would be a disaster for Major League Baseball if they lost a huge portion of next season. And I think both the owners and the players know that. The problem is, if it's salary cap versus no salary cap, that is not a place to start that just gets settled quickly.
Speaking of money, Zaslow, I don't know if you were interested in this story. A former Alabama football player. This is a unique form of fraud I had not seen before in the sports world. A former Alabama football player is accused of getting more than 13 loans for about $20 million by impersonating David Njoku and a couple of other NFL
Michael
players.
Penix Jr. and Xavier McKinley.
He was wearing a wig. He was wearing makeup. He had falsified documents. And the wig, when I saw the word wigs in this story, plural, wigs, it was my favorite part of the story because if any of you have seen shirtless David Njoku, it would be hard to impersonate him shirtless because
Does he have burns?
He gets on, well, that too. He also, yes. He gets on airplanes, though, shirtless, because if you were...
He goes just about everywhere shirtless.
Yeah, if you looked like he did shirtless, you wouldn't wear a shirt very often. Why would you deny the people the rights to see the sculpture that is your body?
I get it.
But putting on a wig to impersonate Michael Penix or to impersonate David Njoku, putting on makeup in order to not just have falsified documents, but be attempting to look like a player because you were a former player. I don't know how somebody gets away with that 13 times to the tune of $20 million. I am not very good as a fraudster. I would not... I want to ask this person questions like, when were you most scared? Did the wig get askew at any point? Like, what sort of situations did you have?
I want to know why he picked those individual players.
They don't look alike, Mike says. But the thing is, you have some similarities in some of them, right? Xavier McKinney has dreads. So does David Njoku. Xavier McKinney at one point had half of them painted blonde too. So it's like David Njoku famously has that. The thing is, when you go, you're not going to show up as a defensive tackle from Alabama and be like, "Hey, I'm Xavier McKinney, safety."
Did he show up wearing the jersey?
It was a Zoom.
They don't have any similarities. They have one.
Everything was via Zoom. So like, it's like, hey, grainy footage, like, got the wig, got the mustache, got this, got that. So like, he was just going through Zooms and just cramming them out and being like, "Yeah, I'm Xavier McKinney. Hey, yeah, I'm Michael Penix."
It's incredible range.
Yeah.
Safety, tight end, quarterback.
Slash.
Tony's putting in a mustache, which I like.
Somebody had a mustache somewhere. Yeah.
Was there a mustache?
Of course.
Well,
if you're going for the wig, you got to go with the mustache.
I'm not sure any of those people have a mustache.
I think Michael Penix has a thin mustache.
Zaz really caught me off guard, though, with something I hadn't considered, which, yes, Njoku is a burn victim as well. There was a time that he walked into the stadium with a number of different burn injuries. I don't know at present. I don't know where that stands, but it does make me want to ask follow-up questions on if you were doing makeup. Is that what you were doing with makeup?
Yeah. Like, I wasn't trying to be, inconsiderate.
But this was October 2024 was the end of it. It was May 23 to October 24, so it was probably before said fire.
That'd have been
issues.
ambitious.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the timeline. That does
a victory
change
for
things.
the theater kids, by the way.
Zaslow threw me off.
You weren't ready for the burn conversation?
No, because all of a sudden it opens up a whole nother thinking process in terms of the questions that I was asking. The wigs, plural. He had an assortment of wigs. This is how this scam works. I've got documents. I've got the players that have the wealth. What do I need? What do I need to really pull off this caper? Because it's a caper. What do I need? I need wigs, plural. I can't be using the same wig. It has to be a different wig for a variety of different people.
I got to tell you something, by the way, Dan. We had bagels and cream cheese this morning, and you see those capers, and they're like all over the cream cheese. Those are disgusting, man. Like, whoever says I want little green duty balls on my bagel. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm a late bloomer on the capers. Just started using them. Love a little bagel with cream cheese, a little tomato, a little capers.
Capers are gross.
Out loud, Zaslow asked me that question. Who likes little green duty balls on their bagel? Put it on the poll.
At Le Batard Show, do you like capers?
Little salty duty balls.
Dom capers.
Yeah. I like Jeremy's way better. Little green duty balls.
Speaking of wigs.
It's not a wig.
No, it's plugs.
It's colored.
It's plugs.
Do you think when he describes his plan to his friend, he's like, yo, I got a caper?
This makes me think of something else here because I was thinking about movie genres because
yes.
Our friend Adam McKay has a movie that's very popular right now on Netflix where he's trying to do something on climate change, and the way he's getting Americans to pay attention to it, or the world to pay attention to it, is by throwing sharks in it. On May 1st, another shark movie is coming to theaters. Deepwater is
yes, I saw a trailer for that.
What a sick trailer, Zaz.
Ooh, that's Aaron Eckhart, right?
You first start in the plane, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, plane movie. Okay, cool. I like plane movies too. And then all of a sudden, plane crash into the water.
I'm into that also, by
Me
the
too.
way. Not in real life, but in movies.
In movies, I love a good plane crash. Then the sharks get in after the plane crash.
They're just like chilling in the plane that's been, cut in half because, they crashed. And there's sharks. I'm into it.
So sharks as a genre confuses me, that it's all still alive, and it's separate as a genre, right? We don't have, I guess we have heists as a genre.
Heist is a great genre. I love heists.
Heists and capers, right? It's heist. Those are the same. Those are synonyms,
Sure.
correct? Those are not different. There's
No different movies,
There's
yeah.
not a caper category and a heist category. It's just one umbrella category. All right, so help me put together the list of movie genres. There's drama, there's comedy, there's thriller.
Well, everybody knows there are 2 movie genres. I will watch the movie no matter what. Time travel movies, prison movies. I will watch any of those movies. What I'm really waiting for, Dan, is for somebody to take the time travel and mix in the prison. Like maybe you're in prison, but you know how to time travel. Let's put those 2 together. Now we're cooking with gas.
Throw some sharks in there as well. But let's just get together here for a list of genres. What horror is it's a genre. There are no other animal genres, right? Maybe apes. There are no.
Apes have made a comeback. There was a recent horror movie that had an ape in it.
There's nothing like shark movies. Primate? Shark movies are they're by themselves, right? Every once in a while, there'll be a bear with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins, or somebody is devouring or trying to devour
I think that was
DiCaprio. But by and large, I don't think people think of apes as a genre.
What about alligator movies? I saw a movie called The Crawl with Barry Pepper.
No.
That's a good movie.
No, it's not. And no, it isn't. The snakes are not a genre.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
What about dog movies?
Snakes on a plane?
What about dog movies? Homeward Bound, Air Bud.
Yeah, there is dog movies.
Are
Marley and
Cujo.
Cujo.
Are dogs a genre? I'm not saying
The Sandlot.
Look, are any of you
That's a great dog
surprised?
movie.
Are any of you surprised that the shark movie is still a thing?
Marley and Me.
No, they do really well, especially the low-budget ones, including this premise has been done before, and it wasn't done a long time ago. There was a movie from 2024 called No Way Up, in which a plane goes down into deep water. There are air pockets or people that survive, and then they start getting attacked by sharks.
This isn't that one? This is a different one.
one.
That's the same thing?
Yeah, I believe that one had Colin Meaney. This one has Sir Ben Kingsley. Now, another interesting note to this. The director of this movie is Rennie Harlan. He directed Deep Blue Sea as well. So this is his second shark movie, and it has a lot of people wondering, is this a spiritual sequel?
You've got to be surprised that the shark movie is still a thing. How is the first one the best of them?
I like movies when you're trapped in the ocean. You got to manage the sharks. I saw this one movie with Blake Lively, and she was trapped in on a buoy, and there were sharks around.
Yeah, they do very well. Like I said, they're not super high budget, and you put a shark on your VHS cover, people rent it. Yeah.
I just wonder if McKay got this idea from you, Dan, because it's a Category 5 hurricane, and then sharks end up in this coastal town. And I just wonder if it was you getting fooled by all of those videos of sharks being here in Miami in the street after hurricanes. I think that must be what happened here, right? And he's like, and Dan talks about climate change too. I've got a movie just for him.
So the hurricane picks up the sharks and sends them somewhere?
No,
just like a
the
flood.
rising tide.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah,
I want the
also-
hurricane to pick up the sharks and then put them somewhere else.
She's pregnant.
I got to tell you.
Very pregnant.
You're
Has
off.
to give birth.
You're off base about Crawl, man. 84% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. If
Thrash.
you don't want to watch a good movie, don't watch a good movie, Dan.
So Crawl, not Thrash. You're saying Crawl as the alligator movie?
Yes.
It's, I did see a portion of that.
It's a good movie.
I don't think alligators is a genre. It's not a genre. It's not. I think
We have
shark.
Hook. We have Hook
Wait,
with
but
an
I-
alligator movie.
But I think dogs is a genre, though. I think there hasn't been a dog movie in a minute that has been popular, but I do believe that a dog is a genre of movie. I also believe that Zaz has two. He's mentioned two. Time travel and prison. Those are both genres of
ones,
movies. Both of them are.
I'll stop whatever I'm doing and watch a time travel movie, prison movie as well. And I already told you, I'm waiting for somebody to have the balls to do a time travel prison movie.
Well, I mean, Demolition Man was a cryo prison.
I got
What do
one
you
for
mean?
you.
There was a big shootout in the end. Jesse Ventura was there.
That's not a prison movie.
It's a
He's
cryo
in prison. He's in prison.
I'll
and
tell
then
you what, I don't even think it's a time travel movie.
You're
now,
lost.
there's a time jump, but they're not traveling in
Travel
time.
in
We're the
time.
ones
No,
making
no,
the
there's
difference.
jump in
They
a
travel
travel.
forward in time.
Futuristic.
Jump time travel.
Okay.
Futuristic is
you're
not
drawing a line in
time
the
travel.
sand.
wanna go back.
So future prison, because that wasn't even Sly's only future
If
prison
I'm jumping,
movie.
I'm traveling.
In
future-
Judge Dredd, he was the rare judge that found himself now behind bars in a
I
penal
know.
colony.
On the law.
Beethoven, good dog movie.
I don't know if I can. I guess the animal genres are what? Because snakes doesn't qualify. There are not enough snake movies.
Anaconda, snakes on a
plane.
It can't
Indiana
be one or
Jones?
two movies. It can't be one or two. We're making an assortment.
Aladdin.
Every damn year, a shark movie gets made. Every year a dog movie doesn't get made. A snake
There's a
movie.
dog movie every year.
There's a good amount of dog movies.
A snake movie does not get made every year. That's not. I mean, there hasn't been.
We'll see what 2026 has to bring.
There's
2025
also
offered up Anaconda.
a huge difference, guys, between there is this animal in the movie
you don't know
and
what you're
this is
talking
centered around the movie. Indiana Jones is not a snake movie.
He says
it's
snakes.
a movie with a snake.
I hate
101
snakes.
Dalmatians, Best in Show.
Dog movies are a thing.
I'm telling you, man, as a hurricane tears through Florida, Haley rushes to find her father, who is injured and trapped in the crawl space of their home. With the storm intensifying and water levels rising, the pair face an even bigger threat lurking below the surface. I won't spoil that part
And
for you,
that's
Dan.
and that also seems to count as a climate change movie.
Yeah.
There aren't.
Takes place in Gainesville.
There aren't. The alligator and the crocodile are too dumb to get multiple franchises. They get one here and there. They do not qualify as a genre. I reject it because their brains are the size of a walnut. They're just. It's not the same. It's not what a shark movie is.
It's tough to swim in zigzag. You know,
That is true. You gotta
run
run in zigzag. Yeah,
that's
everybody knows
easy.
that.
That's easy. If you get caught by an alligator chasing you, you're just stupid. But the swimming in zigzag, it's tough.
Does everybody know that you got to run away from alligators in zigzags?
Just common sense, man.
Some people don't know that. Some people try to go
They're
straight
little
line.
arms.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Did you know that you have to run away from an
You got
alligator in zigzags? Because it is you do have to. But Zaz is also correct that yes, when the alligator has the home field advantage of you're in the swamp, there's no getting away in zigzags.
Are we sure this was an alligator movie or a croc movie? Crocodile's way more dangerous.
I don't know the difference.
Lake Placid.
You don't know whether crawl was alligators or crocodiles?
No, I'm saying like if you showed me a picture, I don't know if that's an alligator or if it's a crocodile.
If you see a gator, it's less intimidating than a croc. Yeah, croc, way more ominous looking.
I disagree. I believe,
What?
I
You don't know your gators.
I believe
Yeah,
that
but
if
on a
I
golf
see
course.
either one of them and they look
All
like a
right.
giant dinosaur snake, I'm
right.
going to be scared.
I'm going to give away the spoiler of what lurks beneath the water here in Crawl because this synopsis says giant alligators.
Well, that's a mistake on their part. They got the stubby little snout. Croc, way more scary.
Another genre, getting disavowed by your government. I'm in.
There have been 8 of those.
I love them.
That is not a genre.
What are you talking? James Bond gets disavowed by his government all the time.
That's just a franchise called Mission Impossible.
And Mission Impossible, clear.
That would fall
it's
under
happened 6 times.
the thriller. That would fall under the thriller category.
No, but not every thriller you don't get disavowed by the government.
That's espionage. That's a different genre.
Baseball is its own genre.
When we talk about things being bought and you guys complaining about WrestleMania, I don't know if you guys saw this. If Zaz saw it, he would have gotten upset. They were showing Adam Silver in the crowd at the Cleveland game, and the announcers on Prime had the audacity to say, what a fantastic job he's doing.
Oh, my God.
Worse than that, he goes, look at this precious metal. Adam Silver. And I was like, oh, please. Precious metal joke.
On.
What?
Said he was doing a fantastic job. And I thought of Zaz watching that game. If he hadn't checked out of basketball in order to follow hockey for the first time in his life, he would have been enraged by Adam Silver. And that's simply you just being a good broadcast partner, right? So, again, when we come back to this dilution of truth stuff, you guys don't care? You don't care that we're going to keep making some of these trades?
Yes, we do. But there's nothing that you can do about it. See, we're American. We're used to not being able to do anything about the things that bother us via gigantic capitalist ventures.
Jeremy, go find that sound, please. Go locate that sound
Pardon
for
me.
us. Yeah.
Got it.
That is Chris Cody after a buffet. I heard something that made me sad this weekend. The news out of Vegas, where Vegas is obviously, whenever there are economy problems, Vegas gets hit pretty hard where disposable cash is. A lot of Vegas is shrinking, suffering under the weight of just things changing. and the Vegas buffet is all but extinct. The MGM Grand has now closed its buffet and has no plans for that giant space either. There are a number of hotels in Vegas that are struggling, but Vegas is gone. I don't know how you guys feel about the Vegas buffet. Chris Cody, I'm assuming that you love the Vegas buffet.
I've hit a couple in my day.
I
always did think it's a little excessive for each hotel to have 2.
There used to be more than 70 buffets in Vegas, and one of the things that would be celebrated, as everything in America now costs $45, is you could get prime rib for $4.99 because it's a way that they wanted to get you near their casinos and on their property, because you have to walk 17 miles to get to the next property, even though it looks like it's right next to you. But there are now evidently fewer than 6 buffets in Vegas at all of the hotels. Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Did you know that there are now fewer than 6 buffets in all of Vegas? And it all started during the pandemic. During the pandemic, everyone realized, okay, we can't just be sharing food like this.
Now the recent trend, more and more hotels are jumping on it, is they're going the way of all-inclusive at these Vegas resorts.
Chris Cody loves some all-inclusive resorts.
Talk to me. Talk dirty to me.
He's got some weaknesses there when you can get a drink package and a food package, and you just tell me this is
it's
what
one
it's gonna
price.
cost.
You mean I don't have to do anything? I just walk in, I just get the food and come out.
All inclusive. Yes.
I don't mind a Vegas buffet. I had the one at the Wynn is very famous. That one's really good. But then one almost killed me. I got diverticulitis from one, straight up.
The thing about the buffet is you think the way to attack it is, I'm not going to eat all day to build up the biggest appetite. You got to eat a little bit in the morning to set up for that buffet meal. If you're going to hit the buffet around 4, you don't want to not eat all day, because then you get filled up really quickly. It's a rookie move to think that you can, I'm just going to leave a bunch of room, not eat all day. No. You got to eat a little something, get the metabolism going, really open up that space, then smoke a joint right before.
I was in Vegas 2 months ago. We didn't do a buffet. It's like whatever.
Well, they're hard to find. There aren't, there aren't many of them
No,
anymore.
but it's not because we said, hey, let's go have a buffet. Oh, my God, I can't find one. Let's not. We didn't do a buffet. We didn't care.
You a buffet guy in other aspects of your life or not?
I can't tell you the last time I did a buffet, to be perfectly honest with you.
I can. I went to a buffet locally, and I looked around, and it was just a place that I loved pre-pandemic, and then I got there post-pandemic, and I was like, this is kind of sad.
I mean, if Pizza Hut brought back the buffet, I'd be into that.
Yeah.
Are we calling the sad continental breakfast at a hotel a buffet?
No.
I mean, it is technically a buffet. No. I can get as much as I want.
No, it's not.
I can have as many little sad cereal bowls as I want.
It's not even advertised as a buffet.
Yeah, it's a continental breakfast.
Okay.
They're trying. That's just
different genres.
That's just them trying to sound fancy. It's a buffet.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Is the continental breakfast, does it qualify as a buffet? You just mentioned Pizza Hut. I don't know what you guys think of the changes generally happening in America to some institutions, because Pizza Huts are closing, Wendy's are closing, 700 7-Elevens have closed, and I imagine this is all a byproduct of you can pick up, you can pick up your phone and just get DoorDash or get anybody to bring you anything you want at any moment. And convenience is I imagine that's what's happening. Do you guys have another theory when I tell you a bunch of Wendy's are closing all over the country? They
stopped caring about Dave's Secret Recipe is what happened. If you want me to talk directly about Wendy's, I didn't like what they did for a long time. Their quality went down, and now they're, having to deal with the consequences of their actions.
I don't think it's that their quality has gone down.
Nah, it has.
Okay, you tell me, Dan.
I was at Wendy's this weekend, and
sad.
No bueno.
Okay. I was of the impression, though, that the reason that this was happening to 7-Elevens, to Pizza Huts. Oh, let's check in with Jeremy here. Jeremy, where are you? You have found the place the sound is coming from. Let's check in with Jeremy.
Jeremy is muted.
Jeremy, you're muted.
Okay.
He can't even hear that we're telling him he's muted.
Yeah. Well, it's too loud. Yeah, it's too loud. We are the video team has made an executive decision, and I wish they'd told me about it before I threw it to Jeremy. They said it's all too loud. You don't want to throw it to where Jeremy is. So you'll just have to enjoy him in picture-in-picture, thinking that we can hear him. Yeah, as they continue to renovate here at the Elser And
it's behind that door. Whatever's behind that door, Dan, we still don't know.
Yeah, but they just told me, the video team just told me we've had to turn it down. It would annoy the audience. He's too close to it. Can we at least see it, though? Let me see what's back there. Is there somebody jackhammering? Is that the problem?
Looks like the door's locked, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going like this, which means door is locked.
All right. That's too bad. You think it's the quality of the Wendy's?
Absolutely.
That it's not.
Dan?
Well, it's not. Is it the 7-Eleven's quality? Is it the Pizza Hut's quality? Like, I've assumed there's too much competition on convenience and that people. Man, aren't people more reclusive than they've ever been because everything can be brought to your home and you're spending the whole day, and every time you look at your iPad, it's got 9 hours you've spent today on your devices?
9? Oh, my God. We're so much closer to 14. Anyway, I got Wendy's this weekend. Obviously, I got the number 5. Everybody knows you got to go number 5, spicy chicken sandwich. And I got the spicy chicken sandwich. I opened it up. I thought it was a burger at first. That's how flat it was. Very, very disappointing. Usually, it's a good thick, juicy piece of spicy chicken. This was a piece of shit.
So what's your explanation for what's happened with 7-Elevens?
I don't know.
That almost 700 7-Elevens are closing when I thought that this was these are the affordable places. Everything is $45 now. Everything.
More. We just got an alert. My wife bought diapers $60. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Wrap a towel around them.
The prices I see when you order like food delivery nowadays, like the jacked up prices is just insane. Like something that should cost like for me, my wife, my kid, like $50-something, it's like $95.
Yeah, how many times have you ordered dinner on your Uber Eats or DoorDash, whatever it is, and when you get to the end of the order, it's like $130
It's a punch in the stomach.
three of you, and you have to abandon it because just on general principle, I'm not paying this.
You know what it made me do? Go throw it back, Jack. I went to start calling the places now, and instead of getting their higher prices on Uber Eats, I'll call the restaurant itself and be like, hey, give me this. I'll go pick it up.
What'd you say?
And I've gone and picked it up.
Jared, Jack? Sorry, could you speak a little bit louder, please?
We didn't hear a word that you said from down there. How bad was it? Because they shielded.
Incarnate Word?
They
What?
shielded us from any of the sound that was coming from your mouth because they said it was too loud.
No, they don't use shields in shark movies, Dan. That wouldn't work.
How bad was it down there, and what's the equipment that they're using? Could you see anything? That was as close as you can get? You couldn't see where that sound is coming from in the hotel?
What?
All right, you're going to stay in character. Okay.
What'd you say?
All right, good.